Hi, I'm Bob Nagan, and this episode of Real Retail TV is coming to you from San Antonio, Texas, where Susan and I are here with the members of the Platinum Mastermind Group for our fall meeting. But today we're going to talk about problems with partners. So before we begin our conversation, our exploration of problems with partners and how to solve them, I want to encourage you to sign up for Monday's webinar. Real Retail TVs typically come out or always come out on Sunday. So if you're watching this on Sunday, tomorrow at 1 o'clock Eastern, Susan and I are going to do a program, a free webinar called The Honest Truth About the Future of Independent Retail. And I really encourage you to sign up and be there. There's a link down below, but I don't need to tell you that the world has changed. And I also believe that Susan and I have a really accurate bead on what the future looks like, and we're going to explore it with you on Monday. Sign up right now, okay? You'll be happy you did. So now let's get to problems with partners. Just this week, I got a Facebook message from a woman who is having problems with her partner. Unfortunately, her partner is also her husband. And she sounded quite distraught, actually. So they're making decisions, they're at odds with each other. They're making decisions that, they're both making decisions about something, in that the decisions aren't always the same. It just sounds like a mess. And when you have real problems with your partners, it always feels like a mess. It is always emotionally draining. Fortunately for them, I have had this conversation many, many times. And here's my advice, always my advice. First, recognize that a problem with a partner is a problem between two human beings. And especially if your spouses, I'm going to assume you love each other. If you're partners in a retail business, odds are you started your business filled with enthusiasm, filled with hope for the future, and something went sideways. So let's assume that you're looking to solve the problem, a heart-to-heart, straightening out the problems, helping each other understand how you feel and understanding how your partner feels is the first step. Now, you won't always solve the problem with one heart-to-heart conversation. So then the next step becomes going to a professional business counselor. There are people, professionally trained psychologists, who specialize in working with business partners. This is what they do. They help you get back on track. So if the heart-to-heart doesn't work, that's what I recommend. Go there. Find yourself a really good business counselor. Go there, see if you can straighten it out. Now, that whole interpersonal thing is the beginning, but rarely does solving the interpersonal problem solve the real problem for the long term. The second part is really where you start to really solve problems, and that is what we call the structural piece. And there's two pieces to this structural piece. The first part is building an organizational chart. If you have the Retail Accountability Blueprint, or if you have the Master Plan Advantage, you know about the Retail Accountability Blueprint. It is an organizational chart for independent retailers. And the RAB, Retailers Accountability Blueprint, is really what you're doing is you're putting souls to roles. A soul is S-O-U-L, right? A person. A role is a responsibility, a group of tasks. A store manager is a role. Buyer is a role. On the floor sales associate is a role. And by building out your retail accountability blueprint, you put people into the jobs. And when you put people into the jobs, they understand what they're supposed to do. The person who sent the email, it sounded like everybody was stepping on each other's toes. This is where the conflict begins. So building an organizational chart, the retail accountability blueprint, is the first step. The second step is building a policies and procedures manual. You see, the retail accountability blueprint is who does what. The policies and procedures manual is how it's done. So the process of building these two things, assuming you're talking civilly, assuming that you're both on the same page, that you're trying to get this important work done, the process of building out your retail accountability blueprint and building your policies and procedures manual will force you to talk, you and your partner, to talk about your business in a deeper, more meaningful way. And those conversations also help straighten things out. So here's the third part. The third part is an operating agreement. And an operating agreement is a legal document, and I strongly encourage you to have the best lawyer you can afford help you draw this up. But in that operating agreement, you and your partner are spelling out your legal rights. Things like, how much money can one partner take out of the business? How much can a partner spend without the other partner's permission? What constitutes a fireable offense? Because partners do need to be fired sometimes. What constitutes a problem? So you're really, really laying out the rights and the responsibilities. And good lawyers, business lawyers do this all the time. They'll help walk you through it. But something that I have found that not something that all lawyers don't do is help you create a buy-sell agreement. And this is super, super important. A buy-sell agreement is an agreement that shows how any one of the parties can trigger a buyout. So let's say Susan and I are partners, right? Susan's right behind me here. So Susan and I are partners, and Susan decides she doesn't want to work with me anymore. Susan can trigger the buy-sell, and she triggers that buy-sell, and I have to sell to her. Now, Susan's father, the late Frank Leach, showed me this, taught me this, and what you want to do is you want to make it onerous. You want to make the trigger the sell so onerous that people are not forced, but are strongly encouraged to stay together. So that's part of it. You want to build your buy-sell so that people are incentivized to stay in the relationship and work it out. But the other part of the buy-sell that's really important is when you and your partner, what Frank called war game it. And that's when you sit down and you say, what could go wrong? If your partner is your spouse, what happens if you get a divorce? If your partner is not your spouse, what happens if your partner dies? Naturally, your partner's spouse will get your partner's share of the business. Do you want your partner's spouse to be your partner? So all of these things you need to talk about. If this goes wrong, then this happens. And this is not an easy conversation. But again, I have a lot of experience with this, and I want to state to you in the most uncertain terms that it is a lot easier to war game your business and the problems that could potentially happen in your business when there are no problems than it is to figure things out when your business relationship has already gone sideways. So, This is not easy work. This is not comfortable work. This is not happy work. But this is the work that you must do if you truly want to be a retail professional. If you want to build the best business that you can build, you have to put on your big boy pants or your big girl pants and do the uncomfortable work. You know, one of the things that we're going to talk about on Monday at that free boot camp is this idea of mindset. Do you have the mindset? Do you have the strength? Do you have the belief that you do the difficult work that is necessary for you to get the success that you deserve? So while it's not easy, do that work. So let's recap. Number one, recognize that it is a personal relationship. Sit down and have a heart-to-heart. If the heart-to-heart doesn't get you back on track, hire a counselor. Then build your policies and procedures manual. Make sure you understand what you're trying to do as a business. And then third, go to a lawyer, build out that standard operating agreement, do your buy-sell, make sure that you have these things in place, and I guarantee you that your business will be stronger and more resilient for the work that you do. All right, as always, I love your comments. Put them down below. And once again, the link to sign up for the webinar is down below. If you watch this after Monday, click, you'll get a link to the recording. But this is really, really valuable information, and I want to strongly encourage you to watch that webinar. Learn what the future looks like so that you are better positioned to be the huge success that you deserve to be. I'm Bob Nagin. We'll see you next week.